This is Twit.
Daniel, you're here partially because of the Maker Map, but I'd say even more than that. What you showed me yesterday was kind of piqued my interest, and it revolves around what you've called Miwa, and it's an Android open source community that's based, you say, based on a hardware design project. It's probably better for you to describe it than for me. So what is Miwa all about?
Well, I originally started about a year ago when I was looking for how to get my games from Android on the television. And this was prior to Chromecast coming out. And since I spend most of my time in China, we just made a trip to Shenzhen and we went to talk to some of the design houses down there. And over the last year, we've been really working with them, trying to come up with a solution to get those products, which are very innovative, excuse me, there's various different types of processors in China, different SoC fabricators, system on a chip. And we're working with Rockchip, which they sold 50 million units last year. And what they have done is we have an agreement with them, which basically allows us to open their SDK, which we're doing as of tomorrow. And we need a little bit of help on that with a Git. So if there are any qualified developers out there, please get me on Google Plus and voice your interest, and I'd love to talk to you. But to the point, and this is the consideration that I spoke to you about yesterday, there is no certification process for these types of devices when it comes to Google. So what we have is a problem with innovation that is taking place in a sector, an emerging market, but you can't get it to market because it's technically illegal, because there's no certification like GMS certification for mobile devices, because the Play Key, or what we're calling the Play Key, the Miwa Play Key, is a device, an HDMI device similar to the Chromecast. And essentially, these are separate devices, and they're all coming from Shenzhen. So we're not going to necessarily say we're going to be one Play Key. We want to give developers the choice. So it's not just an open SDK. We're planning on designing a device with the community, the actual hardware itself. This is similar to how Xiaomi has introduced their hardware in China, which has been extremely successful. And if you don't know who Xiaomi is where Hugo Barra from Google recently went over to work with them. So what you're looking at right now are just some prototype designs for our mold that would be coming up potentially. But the reason why I'm here is to voice the concern that there needs to be a certification process for these devices. That way we're able to go through a compatibility test with Google and then be able to import these into this market.
Yeah, because like you told me yesterday, like smartphones, obviously you can get that certification, and what does that give you? That gives you access to all of the Google apps. It gives you access to the Play Store for app distribution, all that kind of thing. And they require certain things out of your device in order to get that certification. And devices like these, the dongle kind of series of devices, which Google has their own solutions for, right? They have the Chromecast dongle, don't have those kind of features that would allow it to be cleared in those ways. So what you're talking about is a separate kind of a way to separately clear just different form factors. And that, when you were telling me that yesterday, I was like, that's an interesting problem that I just had not considered. Like, I understand why Google wants to limit it on this form factor, on the smartphone or the tablet form factor. But you're right, the Android's appearing in all of these other form factors now. And for all of those form factors to then be limited and eliminated from the possibility of being cleared, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Well, actually, this fails when we go through GMS certification, the compatibility test suite. You get to a point where it will fail because it doesn't have a camera or a microphone. So it can't go through the process. So what we need is a new certification.
Exactly. So interesting.
I really appreciate you letting me tell people about that.
No, I think it's a true problem. What do you think?
A few things came to mind. First, for me, was that Google TV, right, is like the first time that we've seen an interface for Google Apps on a big screen from afar. And I also was thinking about Ouya a little bit, right, because that's an Android-based gaming console. And part of me thinks, well, is the GMS certification doesn't cover devices like this because Google itself hasn't figured out what it expects that big screen, experience to be. And I don't know, I wonder, I wonder if that's about them having, I mean, even the Chromecast is just about throwing a tab really up onto or a video stream up onto the TV. There's not much of an app, like an app kind of interaction the way that I imagine the GMS test suite goes through. And also the Chromecast, is the Chromecast considered an Android device? It's kind of a hybrid, right? I mean, it's certainly marketed as Chrome just from the name. So I don't really have a question. I've been thinking about how this is all connected and how this. I mean, this is a very young sort of area of hardware, I think. But I love the Chromecast, and I would love to see more dongles. And I even believe the Ouya started out, from what I remember hearing, kind of started out. The early prototypes were just kind of a dongle that you just plug into your TV and use.
That's correct. Yeah, from what I understand, there were some problems early on with these devices. The obviously because of the innovation taking place in China, not having the connection with Google, they were struggling to get stability. So these devices are stable running Jelly Bean. So it's 4.2.2. They're coming out right now with KitKat, but you're going to have about 6-month period where it's not going to be so stable.
Right.
And most of the apps that everybody enjoys are already on Jelly Bean, and they work very well with it.
Sure.
And if you haven't experienced, Android on your television, it's a truly remarkable experience. I know that most people think about, Android on their tablets and phones, but
Right, and Android on TV being Google TV, which
right.
is a different kind of user interface. Now you have it plugged into our HDMI, so you can kind
Correct.
of show off a little bit of what you're talking about, right?
So right now what we're looking at is just a customized UI that I've done with apps from the Play Store. So, obviously all of these apps are common to everybody. You can see it. And of course the Twit Pro app, but this is HD Widgets, which is made by Cloud TV that I've customized. Also, if I click desk mode, it will open up Dayframe, which is like the Daydream. And if you haven't seen Dayframe on your HD TV, it really is beautiful if it can load. Well,
I blame our Wi-Fi.
That's the Wi-Fi.
Yeah. It commonly wreaks havoc on demonstrations.
Yeah, it's just whenever you give a demo, everything doesn't work, right?
Pretty much.
But you got Twit Live, you've got HBO Go, Netflix, all of the popular ones. But the key also is that you also can have Cheapcast, which is the same functionality that you get in Chromecast minus Netflix and HBO Go.
But you're already getting Netflix and HBO Go through the app.
Precisely.
Anyways.
Precisely.
So.
And obviously Plex you can also cast as well. So, but the point of Miwa, getting back to it, is to basically allow us to start having a platform that we can start creating UI and not limit that to just Google. So the device itself is ready to ship. We could have the factory just gear up and send a whole bunch here, but legally I can't import that with the Play Store on there. Now, the developers might tell me that's not necessary. Let's get this thing going and we'll create our own. And that's what Ouya basically did. They created their own ecosystem and their own Play Store. But I think that, Google is such a powerhouse. It would be great if we could create a certification process for this type of device. That way, we can open up the innovation to other people that are trying to get into markets.